You know that feeling of constant worry, that little voice in your head that just will not shut up? Well, Eckhart Tolle's amazing book, The Power of Now, tackles that exact problem head on. It sold millions and millions of copies for a really good reason. It offers a genuine path out of all that anxiety. So today we're going to break down its core message, and it all kicks off with a very simple but, wow, a really powerful story. So Tolle starts with this parable. A beggar sitting on this old box for 30 years. 30 years, begging for scraps every single day. And when a stranger finally asks him to just look inside, the box is filled with gold. Can you even imagine that? Sitting on an absolute fortune, completely oblivious? It's a gut punch of an image, right? And Tolle's point is pretty clear. This story isn't really about a beggar. It's about us. Which, of course, brings us to the core question of the entire book. What treasure are you sitting on? I mean, really think about it. We spend so much of our lives searching for happiness out there. We think we'll find it in a better job, a new relationship, the next vacation. But what if the whole time, the greatest treasure imaginable has been right here, inside of us, all along? Okay, so if this incredible treasure is already inside of us, why is it so hard to find? What's blocking the way? Well, according to Toll, the greatest obstacle is something we're all very, very familiar with, that constant, compulsive voice inside our own heads. So let's try a little experiment right now. Can you just decide to stop thinking? Have you found the off button for that voice? Go ahead, give it a try for just a few seconds. Yeah, it's almost impossible, isn't it? For most of us, that stream of thought just keeps flowing completely on its own, whether we like it or not. And this is where Tolle's diagnosis gets, well, pretty radical. He says this isn't just a harmless quirk. For most people, this constant thinking isn't a tool that they use. He calls it an affliction, a disease. The mind is supposed to be this brilliant instrument, something we use when we need it. But for most of humanity, the roles have completely flipped. The tool is now using us. All of this nonstop mental chatter creates what Tolle calls the ego. Now, this isn't ego like thinking you're the best. It's a false self, a phantom self, made up entirely of your thoughts, your memories, and all the labels you've attached to yourself. And because this self isn't actually real, it's incredibly fragile. It lives in this constant state of fear and need, always scrambling to prop itself up. So, how does this ego, this false self, manage to stay alive? Well, it feeds on something we totally take for granted: time. Or more specifically, what Tolle calls psychological time. Here's the ego's survival trick. It is completely allergic to the present moment. It just can't exist, here and now. So it's constantly yanking our attention away. It drags us into the past, replaying old stories over and over to define who we are. Or it slingshots us into the future, always promising that real happiness is just around the corner. Both of those places, the past and the future, Tolle says, are complete illusions. And it's so important to see that there are really two kinds of time. There's what we can call clock time, which is just a practical tool. We need it to set appointments, make plans, learn from mistakes. It's essential. But then there's psychological time, and that is a totally different animal. That's the mental burden. It's when we get lost identifying with our past regrets and future anxieties. And that, right there, is the source of so much of our suffering. And, this isn't some brand new idea. Tolle points out that the 13th century mystic Meister Eckhart said, "Time is what keeps the light from reaching us. There is no greater obstacle to God than time." Wow. Just let that sink in. Our obsession with past and future is the very veil that hides reality from us. And the consequence of living our lives lost in psychological time? Well, it's staggering. We completely miss our own lives. Because your life isn't a memory, and it's not a future hope. Your life is only ever happening right now. Okay, so we've kind of diagnosed the problem, right? Our minds are stuck in time, creating this false self that suffers. So what's the solution? How do we actually access this now that Tolle's talking about? How do we find our freedom? This right here, this is the key. The beginning of freedom is this simple but totally profound realization that you are not the thinker. That voice in your head, that's not actually you. It's just a thought. You are the one who's aware of the thought. You're the silent space in which the voice is happening. Tolle has a name for this awareness. He calls it the watcher or the witnessing presence. Think of it as a higher level of consciousness that just observes your thoughts and emotions without getting all tangled up in them. It's your deeper self, the silent witness. It doesn't judge, it doesn't analyze, it simply notices. And here is where the real magic happens. The instant you start watching that voice in your head, impartially, you cut off its fuel supply. See, a thought only has power over you when you unconsciously identify with it. But when you just watch it, you're no longer energizing it. You disarm it, and it starts to lose its grip. Now, I know this might all sound a bit abstract, but the actual practice is incredibly simple and direct. This is not about complex meditation techniques. It's about bringing a new quality of attention to your life, right here and right now. So here's how you do it in 4 simple steps. 1, just start listening to that voice in your head, almost like you're eavesdropping. 2, observe it impartially. Don't judge it, don't condemn it, just let it be there. As you do this, you'll have this incredible realization. That's step 3. Wait a minute, I'm the one who's listening. I'm not the voice. And then finally, step 4, you'll start to feel it, that deep stillness and peace in the gap between thoughts. And that is the gold in the box. And the best part is, you can practice this anywhere, anytime. Instead of being lost in thought during routine tasks, just bring your full attention to what you're doing. Next time you wash your hands, really feel the water. When you walk up the stairs, feel every step. Just take a few seconds to observe the flow of your breath. Any routine activity can become a portal into the present moment. Ultimately, it all comes back to this one crucial insight. This is the heart of the whole teaching. Freedom isn't something you're going to achieve in the future. It's what happens the moment you learn to disidentify from the endless chatter of your mind. So, we'll leave you with this simple diagnostic question from Tolle. You can ask it to yourself anytime. Is there joy, ease, and lightness in what you are doing right now? If the answer is no, that's just a sign that the mind has probably taken over. And the invitation is always there to simply come back to this moment and rediscover the life that is only ever happening right here and right now.